They also want to know why you have removed the requirement for vetting of non-Kenyans before they are given IDs. The Americans are concerned that suspected terrorists will be registered as Kenyans and they will find their way to America and the rest of the world and create terror in the world. Your decision to suspend vetting of foreigners before they are given registration in Kenya is a threat to world security. And not just the Americans are concerned, Kenyans are concerned too. And this you must answer. You cannot endanger the security of the world because of your business interest. It is true you are doing business with Al-Shabaab, but you cannot endanger world security.
Now moving forward, President William Ruto has today signed the Gambling Control Bill of 2023 into law. The new legislation aims to regulate betting, casinos, public lotteries, prize competition, and media promotions across the country. The law establishing the Gambling Regulatory Authority of Kenya, which will oversee licensing and enforcement in the sector. It also introduced safe gambling principles to protect the public and promote responsible gaming. Gambling has now been recognized as a shared function between the national and county governments, allowing both to play a role in regulation. Let's listen in.
Sheria ya uchezaji wa kamari ama gambling. Nyinyi mnaelewa ya kwamba tumekuwa na tatizo kubwa katika taifa letu la Kenya kwa mchezo huo. Watu wengi wanapoteza mali yao, wengine wanaingia kwa matatizo, mpaka wengine wanapata matatizo ya afya, wengine wanapata depression kwa sababu wameliwa pesa zao. Na nimeambiwa pia wanabodaboda wengi wakati wakingojea wale wateja wako pale kwa gambling wanafanya hiyo. Na saa zingine mtu anafika jioni, ile pesa ambayo alikuwa ametengeneza imezama pale kwa ile maneno. So ndio tumeona ni vizuri tutengeneze sheria ambayo itatusaidia kukabiliana na matatizo ambayo yale yanahusika na mambo ya gaming ama ya gambling katika taifa letu la Kenya. Na imekuwa ni historia mzuri ya kwamba wakati tunakamilisha utengenezaji wa hiyo sheria, kwa rais kuweka sahihi yake kwa hiyo sheria, nyinyi mlikuja kushuhudia.
He has, for the first time since his election in 2022, held a talk with the border riders at State House, Nairobi. Ruto stated that his administration is planning to involve the border riders, especially in signing its agenda. Ruto also stated that for the last 2.5 years, he has managed to change the country through championship for equality, and now the lowly ranks in the society are the biggest economic contributors, as Davis Karani now reports.
Kuna watu wengi wananikejeli kwamba inaonekana wewe bwana ulisahau bodaboda na mama mboga katika mpango yako.
It is the first one-on-one meeting between President William Ruto and the Border Riders Association in the country, 2.5 years after being elected into the office as president. And today's meeting brings back a reunion that seemed to have deteriorated considering the bond that had been created between President William Ruto and the motorcycle riders during the 2022 campaigns.
Kama kuna kiongozi, and I say this without fear of any contradiction, kama kuna kiongozi ambaye amefanya harambee, amesimama na bodaboda, hakuna kiongozi ananishinda katika taifa letu la Kenya. Ni kweli ama si kweli? That is the truth. Na ndio sababu katika uchaguzi uliopita niliinua wanabodaboda mpaka wakakuwa ndani ya conversation.
The head of state, who seemed to have retreated back to the drawing board and appeared to be going back to his roots, which he used in the 2022 campaigns to gain masses by identifying himself with the lowly ranked in the society.
Hii Kenya haitakuwa Kenya ya watu wakubwa peke yao. Itakuwa Kenya ya kila mtu. Yule mdogo, yule wa katikati, yule mkubwa, na tukasema tutapanga mpango ya bottom up. Yaani tutaanza na kule chini. Tutaanza na kule chini because hiyo ndio philosophy ambayo itahakikisha ya kwamba kila mtu anachangia katika kupeleka Kenya mbele, na kila mtu anahusishwa, na kila mtu anashughulikiwa.
Ruto also appeared to criticize his predecessors, especially the former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, whom he hosted a week ago in State House, Nairobi, for locking the hustlers out of State House while stating on his agenda, which was supported by the Boda Boda team through their leaders.
Sisi kama watu wa boda boda huwa tunaanguka, tunapata ajali, na mahali penye tunaenda ni hospitali. Tunaendesha pikipiki, baridi na tuingia, tunakuwa wagonjwa. Sisi kama association, we want to be an agent of SHA. Turejeste kwanza. Turejeste boda boda wetu wote kwa SHA, na tubebe wale wateja wenye huwa tunawabeba, tuwaambie wajirejeste kwa SHA.
Is President William Ruto scheming for the 2027 general elections? Time will tell. Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
Well, only time will tell. And now moving forward, Kericho County is in trouble. Just a day when the County Assembly MCAs gave a notice for impeachment of Governor Eric Mutai. Today, the governor has reacted swiftly. Governor Mutai now petitions President William Ruto to dissolve the county government for them to seek a fresh mandate from the electorate. The MCAs are accusing the governor of gross constitutional violation, corruption, and gross misconduct. Let's take a listen.
Kericho County Governor Eric Mutai is a man
for Kericho County to consider and pursue a constitutional petition for the dissolution of a county government under Article 192 of the Constitution of Kenya.
not once, but for the second time, is not in good books with these MCAs. The embattled governor now petitions President William Ruto to dissolve the county government for them to seek a fresh mandate.
Let us no longer be just to function. Tomorrow, we will begin collecting signatures across the county to dissolve the county and petition the president to petition the county government of Kericho, and then we go back for fresh elections and let the people decide. We will not continue like this. We will not be hostage. And so tomorrow we'll kick off the process.
His reaction comes only a day after the MCAs, led by Cigarette MCA Kiprotich Orgun, gave a notice on Tuesday intending to impeach the county chief. The MCAs tabled serious accusations of constitutional violations, gross misconduct, and mismanagement of public funds.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I beg, with the support of the members of the County Assembly of Kericho, the County Assembly, whose names and signatures I have annexed here too, as Annexure 1, to move the motion for impeachment of His Excellency Honorable Eric Mutai, the Governor of Kericho County, for number 1, gross violation of the Constitution of Kenya, Roman number 2, gross violation of various national and county laws, Roman number 3, serious reasons for believing that the governor has committed crimes under national law, Roman number 4, abuse of office, and Roman number 5, gross misconduct.
The governor accuses his deputy.
And to my good friend, engineer Fred Kirui, you were a mistake that I selected as a deputy governor. It's something I don't want the people of Kericho to carry the burden. But let it be known that he has never stepped these offices for the last 3 years. He only appears here when he wants to close scandals. The office of the governor is one.
An interesting story indeed. And now it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platforms at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We'll be right back.
And I'm a musician. That's how I would want to, be known out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am a musician. And not just a musician, but a conscious musician. Rappers need vaccines, dumper track back by the machines. I got trust issues, most of you proofs next. I'm here for the cake and hip-hop sick lyrically.
What are some of the challenges you face so far in your music career?
You know why?
Okay.
I said I don't think there is any lady or any gentleman I would want to do a collaboration with.
Locally or even internationally?
So far, locally to begin with.
Anza wiki yako kwa njia sahihi kwa GBS Jumatatu.
Niko nawe hadi mida ya saa 4 asubuhi. Kwanza niseme asante kwa kuzidi kufuatilia na kutazama vipindi vyetu ambavyo huwa tunakuandalia hapa ndani ya GBS TV Jumatatu. People are now seeing the money that have been given to church as a bribe.
Jiunge nasi kila Jumatatu asubuhi kuanzia saa 1:30.
Nimesikia mwenzangu akifanya hesabu hapo ya vile ambavyo miungano zitakuwa. Ruto is going to fail whether with Raila or without Raila.
Kuna mahali anakosea akisema ati Raila na Ruto wataungana. Hakuna kuungana iko hapo, ndugu yangu, acha nikwambie ukweli.
Hadithi za kunoga.
Ukiangalia Wakenya, wananchi wa Kenya, pia hao maisha yao imedhulumiwa kwa kuongezwa kwa taxes, ziko very high taxes. So the statement by the Rigathi Gachagua is just statement ya kumcheck that we can see you we can see between the lines.
Na mazungumzo yenye nguvu ya kukuletea utulivu kwa wiki yako.
Ati Raila ataingia UDA hapo
nasema hivi mheshimiwa, ikiwa Raila
itakuwa, mimi naona itakuwa
hadi saa 4 za asubuhi kwa majadiliano ya kusisimua.
Mheshimiwa Rais William Samoei Ruto ajue ya kwamba sasa yeye ni president wa Kenya. Sio mambo ya kufanyia wana Kenya mzaha. Kupoteza biashara kwa siku moja katika CPD, nafikiria ni jambo ambalo ni rais.
Usikose, ingia kwenye GBS TV. Anza Jumatatu yako kwa kusudi.
If the government does not spend, my brother, hakuna maendeleo inaonekana, hakuna barabara zinatengenezwa, hakuna dawa kwa hospitali, my friend, economies will not grow.
Tuonane panapo majaliwa yake Mwenyezi Mungu.
GBS Jumatatu, palipo mjadala wa leo na mwelekeo wa kesho.
AS and A levels is a qualification program that is advanced. That is after one has completed the high GCSE program, then they advise to continue for AS and A level. AS typically is a 1-year program, and A levels is done in the 2nd year after completing the AS level. And this one equips the student with the knowledge that is recommended for the university and also by employers outside the countries or within the country.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin, and now we head on to the international news. The United Nations Rights Office is condemning a surge in deadly attack on civilians in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, blaming the Rwanda-backed M23 armed groups. This comes despite a recently signed ceasefire in Doha. UN spokesperson Jeremy Lawrence says at least 319 civilians were killed between July 9th and 21st in 4 villages in Rushuru territory, North Kivu province. He says the killings were carried out by the M23 and the members of the Rwandan Defense Forces. Among the victims are 48 women and 19 children, many of them local farmers attacked while camping in the fields. The UN is also condemning violence by other armed groups, including the ADF and Codeco, across North Kivu, South Kivu, and Ituri provinces. The UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk is urging all parties to the conflict to protect civilians, respect international law, and commit fully to the peace process. Let's take a listen.
The Human Rights Office condemns the escalation in deadly attacks on civilians by the M23 armed group in eastern DRC amid continued fighting despite the ceasefire that was recently signed in Doha. According to first-hand accounts received by our office, at least 319 civilians were killed by the M23, backed by members of the Rwanda Defense Force, between the 9th and the 21st of July in 4 villages in the Rutshuru territory of North Kivu province. This is one of the largest documented death tolls in such attacks since the M23's resurgence in 2022. Most of the victims, including at least 48 women and 19 children, were local farmers camping in their fields during the planting season. We also condemn attacks against civilians by other armed actors. We have documented multiple such attacks in the North Kivu, South Kivu, and the Ituri provinces in July, including by the ADF and Codeco armed groups. All attacks against civilians must stop immediately, and all those responsible must be held to account. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk renews his call on all parties to the conflicts in eastern DRC to protect civilians from harm and to uphold all their obligations under international humanitarian law and international human rights law. He also urges all parties to the recently signed Declaration of Principles to commit to the peace process in good faith and to act decisively to end the cycles of recurring violence.
Now shifting the focus to what's happening in Ghana as they mourn the loss of senior government officials who perished in a military plane crash yesterday. The tragedy occurred at the Adansi area in the Sikeman forest in the Ashanti region. Among those killed are Ghana's Defense Minister Edward Omane Boamen and Environment Minister Ibrahim Murtala. Ghana's government described the crash as a national tragedy as the military launches investigation into the cause of it. From Ghana, here's a story prepared by GBS reporter Victor Oduni.
Accra, the capital of Ghana, is waking up to the worst aviation disaster as a military helicopter carrying top government officials crashes, killing all the 8 people on board. Among those killed in the crash are Defense Minister Edward Omane Boamen, Environment Minister Ibrahim Murtala Muhammad, Vice Chair of the National Democratic Congress ruling party, a top national security advisor, and all the crew members. According to the military, the aircraft took off in the morning from Accra, heading to northwest in the interior. The plane went off the radar and crashed in the Sekemen forest near Adansi Acrophome area in the Ashanti region. The military and residents are now sifting through the wreckage. A somber mood engulfs mourners gathering at the late defense minister's residence and at the party headquarters. All are lost for words.
I just have nothing to say. I just pray that God guides them, that's all.
The government of Ghana, through Julius Debra, Chief of Staff to the President John Mahama, in a press conference, termed the crash a national tragedy. The officials were on their way to an event on illegal mining activity area, a major environmental issue in the West African country. The cause of the crash has not been established as the military launches a probe. In May 2014, a service helicopter crashed off the coast, killing 3 people. Whereas in 2021, another cargo plane overran the runway in Accra and crashed into a bus full of passengers, killing 10 people.
Tonight, with a heavy heart as a nation, we approach your divine presence as we stand before the mortal remains for our government officials and our serving personnel. We thank you for Lord in our sorrow today.
From Accra, Ghana, I'm Victor Udin.
Tonight, with a heavy heart as a nation.
Here in GBS TV, we say rest in peace to the lost souls. And now, families in Gaza once dipped pieces of bread into dukkha, a condiment made of ground wheat and spices. But today, 78-year-old Aliyah Hanani is rationing bread by the bite, served once a day at noon, allowing each person to dip it in a wartime dukkha made of flour, lentils, and bulgur. Life is becoming more unbearable for families living in Gaza as food becomes a golden and a major basic need. Let's have a look at how the situation for Palestinians living in Gaza is currently.
ايش اكلنا؟ كل واحد لقمة خبز فيها حبة دقة، طقة واحدة في اليوم اللي هي طقة الظهر. لا عشاء ولا فطور.
اليوم غدينا يعني طبيخ بتنجان، ويعني والأكل هذا يوم بعد يوم يعني كمان يعني مش يوميا، بضل الأولاد يعني جعانين يعني بكره احنا مش هنلاقي ناكل.
اليوم والله أكلنا مجدرة، هايات المجدرة من التكية. إن أجت تكية هينا أكلنا، ما جتش تكية هاي بنضلنا بجوعنا. هاي ولا حبة طحين عندي ولا خبزة ولا أكل.
خذ هاي هذا. اليوم ما فيش أكل يعني فيش أكل متوفر ولا في شيء.
Now moving forward, U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed an additional 25% tariffs on Indian imports, doubling the total tariffs to 50%, one of the highest rates the U.S. has ever applied to a trading partner. The move comes in response to India's continued purchase of Russian oil, which the U.S. says helps fund the Moscow war in Ukraine. The tariffs takes effect on August 27th. India has condemned the action as unjustified and unreasonable, arguing its oil policy is driven by national interest and that other countries buying Russian oil haven't been punished similarly. The increased tariff will hit a major Indian export including textiles, gems and jewelry, auto parts and seafood, but electronics and pharmaceuticals remain exempt for now. President Trump also hinted at possible similar tariffs on other countries that import Russian oil and is eyeing broader tariffs on items like semiconductor and arms pharmaceuticals.
There are certain kind of diplomatic legacy, diplomatic history, and then there are some diplomatic compulsions as well. But
Thank you
this is beyond compulsion. This is actually arm twisting. Everything said and done, at the end of the day, the USA is our biggest trade partner. If we talk about numbers only. So then, of course, 50% is a huge tariff. And not only that, simultaneously what is happening now, at least at this point of time, with China, the America is having a tariff pause. The long-term solution is to do export market diversification. Or in simple terms, India has to find out new export markets and possibly increase the volume of exports in the existing export markets, non-American export markets. But that will also take time.
Now, Israeli forces' deadly attacks on schools sheltering Palestinian civilians highlight the lack of safe places for Gaza's displaced people. Recent Israeli strikes on school-turned shelters are part of the ongoing military offensive that is demolishing much of Gaza's remaining civilian infrastructure, displacing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians again, and worsening the already dire humanitarian situation. Since October 2023, Israeli authorities have carried out hundreds of strikes on schools threatening displaced Palestinians, including unlawful, indiscriminate attacks using U.S. munitions, which have killed hundreds of civilians and damaged or destroyed virtually all Gaza's schools. Let's take a listen.
In Gaza schools, they are learning the skills of survival. Makeshift kitchen shelves cover the blackboards. You won't find teachers reciting equations here, just mothers teaching their children how to get by on only the scraps they can find. As you can see, we are in a classroom that's now hosting displaced people instead of being for our children's education. Our situation is very difficult. There is no food and there is no water because there is no fuel for the cars to bring us the basic necessities of life. Israel's war on Gaza has decimated neighbors, leaving Palestinians with no choice but to make homes from the buildings around them, which include schools. Since October 2023, Israeli attacks have struck over 500 schools buildings, many used as shelters just like this one. The strike have killed hundreds of civilians, many desperate for food. We have nothing to live a normal life like all the people of the world. We need security and we need to live safely and in peace. The current situation is very critical. It is difficult to find a piece of bread. We don't know what to do. Hopefully, our situation will get better because, as you can see, we don't have mattresses and we don't have blankets. The attacks are non-stop, but this is our current situation now. Human Rights Watch has released its investigation into several Israelis' attacks on civilians sheltering in schools. It found that the dozens of attacks on schools that Israel claims was targeting Hamas or other Palestinian fighters. There were just 7 instances in which Israel published names and photographs on each alleged targets. 2 destroyed schools, which were investigated in the report, were among those Israel claimed were housing Palestinian fighters. A review of satellite imagery, photos, and videos of the attacks in the aftermath found that there were no military targets in either school. Strike on Gaza schools without military targets is a violation of international humanitarian law. The group calls for governments, including the United States, which has provided weapons used in unlawful attacks, to impose an arms embargo on Israel. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul Elmine.
Now shift the focus to what's happening in the United States. Apple, whose chief executive Tim Cook met with President Donald Trump in the White House, is substantially boosting its investment commitment in the United States. Apple will invest an additional $100 billion in the United States, taking its total pledge to $600 billion over the next 4 years. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Wednesday. Trump announced the increased commitment at the White House alongside the tech giant CEO Tim Cook, calling it the largest investment Apple has ever made in America. Davis Karani now reports.
Isn't that nice? We're doing these things now in the United States instead of other countries, faraway countries.
American manufacturers are on track to make 19 billion chips for Apple in 24 factories across 12 different states. This is according to Cook, who said in the Oval Office,
American innovation is central to everything we do. Our products are designed here, we're hiring and growing here, and we support 450,000 jobs with thousands of suppliers and partners in all 50 states.
Trump, who has pushed U.S. companies to shift manufacturing home by slapping tariffs on trading partners, claimed that his administration was on time for the investment.
This is a significant step toward the ultimate goal of ensuring that iPhones sold in the United States of America also are made in America with the mass infusion of capital it's announcing today. Apple will also build a 250,000 square foot server manufacturing facility in Houston and invest billions of dollars to construct data centers across the country from North Carolina to Iowa to Oregon. That's big stuff. Apple will also open state-of-the-art manufacturing economy. It's going to be a manufacturing academy in Detroit, and that's a great place to do. Well, you know, big things are happening in Michigan and Detroit. They're coming in because of what we've done with the, I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill. I added one word. This is the largest investment Apple has ever made in America.
It's certainly not realistic to think that they can start making iPhones in the United States. You know, I will offer what I think is a really telling example, which is about a year ago when they were ramping up production of the iPhone 16 Pro. They needed to increase production in China. In the span of less than a month, they were able to add 50,000 employees at the rate of about $3 per hour in order to ramp up production. They were able to do that in literally about 2 weeks.
Cook later clarified that while many iPhone components will be manufactured in the United States, the complete assembly of iPhones will still be conducted overseas. Trump has repeatedly said he plans to impose 100% tariffs on imported semiconductors, a major export of Taiwan, South Korea, China, and Japan.
Earlier this year, we made our largest ever spending commitment, $500 billion to the U.S. over the next 4 years. That's already yielding results. Earlier this year, we broke ground on a new factory in Houston to make advanced AI servers. And just last month, the very first test unit rolled off that factory's line, proudly made in America. President Trump shared some kind words about that work, but he also asked us to think about what more we could commit to doing. And Mr. President, we took that challenge very seriously. I'm glad to be here with you today, and I'm very proud to say that today we're committing an additional $100 billion to the United States, bringing our total U.S. investment to $600 billion over the next 4 years.
Davis Karani for GBS News.
Now for sports lovers, it's time for your most favorite segment of the show, the sports news. Let's get sporty. And now to some developing news here in Kenya. In the CHAN 2024, Kenya and Angola have gone to a draw after the second Angolan goal was cancelled. The play was performed today. Now moving forward, the Football Kenya Federation has officially launched a nationwide rollout of its basic introductory coaching course, signaling a fresh boost to strengthen grassroots football through structured coach education. Spearheaded by the FKF National Technical Department, the 5-day course is the first tier under the Federation's revamped National Coach Education Strategy Pathway. According to a circular sent to all FKF branch chairpersons, the course is designed to serve as a critical entry point into the FKF-CAF coaching license system.
The Basic Introductory Coaching Course program specifically targets beginner coaches, school-based trainers, and grassroots football volunteers. To maintain quality and personalized learning, each intake will be limited to 30 participants per class. The course content is tailored in line with the CAF coaching convention and incorporates globally accepted coaching methodologies. It will be delivered by accredited FKF coach educators, ensuring a consistent and professional learning experience across the country. All FKF branch officers interested in hosting the course have been directed to coordinate directly with the FKF Technical Department for scheduling and planning. This coordination aims to ensure smooth implementation and broad national coverage. This latest development comes just months after FKF temporarily suspended all CAFD licensing coaching programs. The Basic Introductory Coaching Course is expected to fill that gap, serving as the new foundation for coach development in Kenya. By equipping grassroots trainers with modern tools and knowledge, FKF aims to raise the standard of football coaching and ultimately playing quality across the country. With the registration already underway, FKF is optimistic the initiative will attract hundreds of aspiring coaches eager to develop their craft and contribute to the growth of football in Kenya from the grassroots up. Reporting for GBS TV Sports, I am John Kinyanjui.
Now moving forward, the Kenya Tourism Board and the Kenya Football Federation have signed a 6-month partnership deal valued at 15 million shillings. The agreement aims to use the power of football to promote tourism across the country. Through the partnership, KTB will leverage football events, players, and digital platforms to market Kenya's travel destinations to both domestic and international audiences. Football matches will now carry tourism messaging, helping boost visibility for the country's attractions. Officials from both sides said the collaboration is a strategic move to grow tourism by tapping into football's wide reach and passionate fan base.
2027, the football alone will contribute over 1.7 billion 1.7 trillion US dollars in the global economy, and therefore, as a country, we would not like to be left behind in benefiting from the value that comes with football. Kenya alone has 40% fan base in football, and hosting a game such as CHAN is critical in creating jobs in the hospitality industry. It's elevating our retail, it's boosting our economy, and there is no better way to celebrate than to find, in the smallest of ways, a chance to celebrate our national team.
Sports tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors around the world. It is unfortunate that our continent has never been able to tap into sports tourism as other parts of the world or regions have done so over the years, but we are going to change this. When you talk of local tourism, we are talking of teams, both for men and women, who travel from one county to another during our leagues and competitions. And in that process, we have our hotels occupied. We give the opportunity for fans to visit specific tourist destinations which they would never have otherwise visited. So this partnership will ensure that not only the ecosystem of football is grown and developed, but also within the tourism sector, the local tourism sector. It will also provide an opportunity to showcase our talent, and this talent can represent us all over the world when they play for foreign teams and foreign clubs, just as our athletes have done when they travel to compete in all those markets out.
Sports tourism is one of the lowest hanging fruits, being a home of champions in all the sports that we participate in is a great honor for Kenya. Thank you.
We have come to the end of our news bulletin here at GBS TV Africa. It's always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time, some channel. My name is Susan Nganga, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Alan Kiama. Good night.